You ever had someone ask you a question, and instead of answering right away, you hesitate? Not because you don't know what to say, but because something in you goes quiet, like your brain just hit pause, and your gut whispers, "Careful, this isn't what it looks like." They're smiling, relaxed, casual, but something about it feels off, like you're being pulled into something you didn't agree to. That feeling? That's not overthinking. That's your brain detecting a mismatch. Because humans are incredibly good at reading patterns, even when we can't explain them yet. And what you're sensing in that moment is this. You're not being asked a question, you're being positioned. Positioned to defend, positioned to doubt yourself, positioned to lose control of the conversation. Because here's the truth most people never learn. Manipulators don't argue better than you. They frame better than you. And the fastest way to control a frame is through a question. Because questions feel harmless. They don't feel like attacks. They feel like curiosity. But in the wrong hands, they're psychological traps. And once you answer them the wrong way, you've already stepped into their version of reality. So today, we're not just exposing these questions. We're breaking down exactly why they work, what they're doing to your brain, and how to shut them down without losing your ground. Because once you see it clearly, you stop reacting. You start seeing through it. Question 1. Why are you being so dramatic? This one's subtle, but it's deadly effective. Because it doesn't attack your argument, it attacks your credibility. Let's slow it down. You notice something off, you speak up, calm, direct, grounded, and instead of engaging with what you said, they respond with, "Why are you being so dramatic?" Right there, the frame just shifted. Now the focus isn't on what happened, it's on you, your tone, your reaction, your emotional state. This is called emotional reframing. And it works because your brain is wired to protect your social image. So instead of staying focused on the issue, you start thinking, am I overreacting? Do I sound crazy? Should I calm down? And just like that, you abandon your position. Not because you are wrong, but because you are redirected. That's the trick. They don't need to prove you wrong. They just need to make you question yourself long enough to lose momentum. And once that happens, they regain control. Here's what you need to understand. Calling you dramatic is not feedback. It's a strategy. Because if they can make you smaller, they don't have to get better. Response. I'm reacting to what happened. If you want less reaction, give better behavior. Now you're back in control of the frame. Question 2. Do you even trust me? This one hits deeper because it doesn't just challenge your reaction, it challenges your character. It forces you into a moral position. Now you're not just someone asking questions, you're someone who might be untrusting, insecure, or difficult. And most people hate being seen that way. So what do? They rush to fix it. They soften. They backtrack. They apologize for even asking. And in doing that, they abandon the original issue completely. That's why this question is so powerful, because it weaponizes your desire to be seen as a good person. But here's the reality. Trust is not proven through words. It's proven through patterns. So when someone uses this question in the middle of being questioned, they're not building trust. They're protecting themselves from scrutiny. It's like a magician saying, "Do you trust me?" right before the trick. No. Watch the hands. Response. Trust isn't something I say. It's something I observe. And right now, I'm observing. That line does something powerful. It removes emotion and replaces it with evaluation. Now they're the one being watched. Question 3. What do you want me to say? This one's sneaky because it pretends to be surrender, like they're overwhelmed, like they don't know what to do. But it's not confusion. It's avoidance disguised as helplessness. Because if they can convince you that they don't know what to say, you'll start guiding them. You'll explain what you want. You'll soften your expectations. You'll basically build a path for them. And, once again, they didn't take responsibility. You handed it to them. This is psychological outsourcing. They shift the emotional labor onto you. And if you accept it, you become responsible for fixing what they broke. That's why it feels exhausting, because it is. Response: if you don't know what to say, start with the truth. Then stop. Let silence do its job. Because silence creates pressure, and pressure reveals character. Question 4. Can we just move on? This is the escape button. The moment accountability gets uncomfortable, they try to fast forward the conversation. But what's really happening is they're not asking to move forward. They're asking to skip the part where they're held accountable. And your brain, it's tempted to agree, because conflict is uncomfortable. Tension is draining, and part of you just wants peace. But peace without resolution is just delayed conflict. It doesn't disappear. It comes back stronger, because nothing changed. The behavior didn't change. The pattern didn't change. Only the conversation stopped. That's not healing. That's suppression. Response: we can move on after we deal with it, not instead of it. Now you've drawn a boundary, not aggressively, but clearly. Question 5. Are you really going to throw everything away over this? This is the final move, the guilt play. Because now they're not just avoiding blame, they're making you responsible for the outcome. They frame it like this: if the relationship ends, it's because of you. Not their actions, not their choices, but your standards. And that creates internal conflict. Because now you're thinking, am I overdoing it? Is this worth losing everything? That's the trap. Because now you're negotiating your own boundaries. And once you start negotiating your boundaries, you lose them. Here's the truth. You're not throwing anything away. You're refusing to carry something that's already damaged. And there's a difference, a big one. Response: if this is enough to break it, then it was already broken. That line ends the illusion. The deeper pattern. All of these questions do one thing. They shift the focus from truth to control. They don't want clarity. They want influence. They want to shape how you see reality, so they don't have to change it. That's why recognizing the pattern matters more than memorizing responses. Because once you see the pattern, you stop reacting automatically. You pause. You think. You choose. Final layer. Trust your signal. Most people don't get manipulated because they're naive. They get manipulated because they ignore their instincts. That small moment of discomfort, that hesitation, that quiet voice saying, something's not right. That's your internal alarm system. And it's usually correct. The problem is, we've been trained to override it, to be polite, to give the benefit of the doubt, to not overreact. But awareness isn't overreacting. It's protecting your clarity. So next time someone asks you a question and your gut tightens, don't rush to answer. Pause and ask yourself, is this question trying to understand me or control me? Because that one question might save you from 10 conversations you were never supposed to have.